Part 57. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 561. As previously queried, although Tianzi's schoolmate cannot be located, her scoring status is still there. As for the Bashan disciples, the scoring situation is also there. In other words, it is indeed so. A violent attack that should not occur in this school has occurred. There is a high chance that the attacker is not a student of this school. Suspicion focused on Bai Fangsheng. In order to force Ayanokaji to withdraw, Principal Tsukijo was first brought in. However, after taking several exams but with no results, Mr. Tsukijo applied to be admitted as a Hakubo student. This is a very correct arrangement. Since Ayanokaji-san came from the White Room, it was natural to arrange a duel with someone who came from the same place. It's similar to using his spear to attack his son's shield. This time, the island exam has a lot of freedom. So Bai Fangsheng might attack. And Oreki-san is also waiting for the opponent to attack. Result: the injured person now is a student from Ryuan class. It's not Ayanokaji-san. In other words, Chief Baifang, did you come to the uninhabited island to play? And he still attacks the weak. Soon. Tsubasa is back. I lost Yunane, Tsubasa said. Someone was peeking at us just now. Isn't it super scary then? The other party must have remembered my face. However, Shinohara-san's emotions, which had finally stabilized, seemed to be out of control again. Not only did they attack Komayayama and Kinoshita, so they also attacked me. Well, this is... Tsubasa-senpai quickly looked at Shinohara-senpai and comforted her. And Oreki-san was paying attention to Tsubasa-senpai's appearance. The other party is trying his best to comfort him. Obviously. She seemed upright, and she was probably unaware of the attack. By the way, where are you? Hey, Shinohara, and Komayayama, why would you? And classmate Ike Kanji also came. He noticed Komayayama lying on the ground. Don't come over, but Shinohara-san noticed Ike-san and immediately became excited. Generally speaking, when you encounter danger and the opposite sex you usually care about appears, you may be dominated by short-term emotions and may hope to gain a sense of security from the other person. It might even speed up your romance. But Chi came a little too late. At the same time, Tsubasa-senpai has almost comforted Shinohara-san. As for Komayayama, the attack on them has become a manifestation of Shinohara-san's panic, so for the time being, it is estimated that he will not dare to contact Komayayama and the others. In this way, the flower of love that has not yet bloomed has closed again. It seems that Kushida-san's troubles have lessened. Oreki-san thought to himself. Because Shinohara-san probably won't think about love anymore these days. It's just that the school's rescue was too slow. After the bracelet sounded the alarm, it took about an hour and a half before the rescue team arrived. Fortunately, Komayayama and Kinoshita did not suffer any other injuries. Otherwise, generally speaking, the consequences will be serious. That's not a good thing. The teacher who participated in the rescue team is the digital teacher on the class guidance board of Class C. Although this teacher on the board is not very handsome, he is still good to his students. Ryuan gave up on the class before, but he didn't give up either. But now, when he came to the rescue, he found that the students in his class were injured, and his mood became very bad. So, didn't you see the face of the attacker? The digital teacher on the board was collecting information from Shinohara-san. But no important information was obtained. It was only when Xiao Gongshan was being carried on the stretcher that Xiao Gongshan woke up. But unfortunately, he just felt a flash in front of his eyes, and then he was knocked down. No information available. However, since a bad incident has occurred, this time the uninhabited island exam may end prematurely. After all, schools cannot accept injuries or life threats to students at will. The teacher on the board revealed this information. And Oreki-san recorded this information. Then because a student was attacked, the pressure was immediately put on Yu Cheng. The three head teachers of classes stared at Yu Cheng warily. But Yueshan. This time it really had nothing to do with him. Chapter 260 Tsubasa is more innocent than Kushida, I'm worried. A student was attacked and injured, and it was classified as a serious incident. Then he was immediately reported to Yu Cheng, the examiner of this exam. However, due to the superposition rules of the basic cards that the teachers had fought for previously, and the students from the three grades, a total of 68 people with ride-on prop cards started betting. Once the students bet correctly, Moon City will lose a total of about 150 million. This is a number that everyone needs to pay attention to. So in order to confirm the fairness of the exam, Yu Cheng is now being watched by the head teacher of class A of the 3rd grade. Result. Do you think you should doubt him now that something so vicious has happened? Mr. Tsukijo seemed innocent. Things need to be dealt with. If it is an attack between students, then there will be disqualification from the exam and severe punishment thereafter. My suggestion is to conduct a search for information about students who were at the location of the crime during that time. In other words, it is to query the student's GPS. Of course, it is not ruled out that dangerous people may be mixed in, so we teachers should also do our own research. Just looking at the three head teachers of class A who seemed to be distrustful, Mr. Yu Cheng could only add. There is no way I would do such a thing, not to mention that I am also a dumpling employee after all, and I also have my own sense of responsibility and backbone. So I will not actively interfere in the exam. Also, please look at the current test score rankings. Mr. Tsukijo said. Picked up a tablet. As the examiner of this exam, you can naturally obtain the students' test scores. The three head teachers kept an eye on him for the sake of fairness, but they did not restrict his absolute freedom in life. For example, he could grasp the candidate's information at any time, and he could point it out at any time. In this way, he logged in with his authority as the principal and clicked on the score as of 22:15. First place, Oreki Houtarou, 342 points. Takahiraji, a member of the large group, has abstained. Second place Amasawa Ichika, NPC in the same class, group member passerby NPC has abstained, 301 points. Third place, Haru Sakurako, Utsunomi Yariku, 2 passerby NPCs, 299 points, group members 2 passerby NPCs have abstained. No 4. Because it is the principal's authority, he can view the scores of all students. They won't be restricted like students. Only the top 10 can be viewed. However, Mr. Yu Cheng just clicked on the top 3, and the 3 class teachers understood. If this kind of vicious attack on students was instigated by Yu Cheng, then he would only be shooting himself in the foot. Because the current number 1 on the list is Oreki Houtarou and the Kojinji team. The targets of the ride-along bets were also Takahiraji and Oreki-san. If the exam is terminated midway, the exam results will end with the existing ranking. According to the rules, Mr. Yu Cheng will pay all the fees. So this result is indeed the worst for Mr. Yu Cheng. So Mr. Tsukijo cleared himself of suspicion. Is it just that Yu Cheng is confused? No. There is. Because of what Komiya Yamaguchi, the second-year Class C, said to him, he was attacked and fainted without even seeing him. And it is impossible for ordinary students to be able to do such a thing. It can be confirmed that the opponent's force value is very strong. And there are only a few names on the list that can be suspected. He applied to bring Shirofushin, Shimanori, and Ayanokaji Kiyotaka, as well as Kojinji and Oreki Houtarou, who had previously intimidated Kazuomi Hoizumi. It's just that Yuenji has abstained. And Oreki himself is the top one. Although terminating the exam early is very useful for his top one is very stable and there is no need to do such a dangerous thing. So is it Ayanokaji Kiyotaka? Indeed. This kid has no emotions, even he can break bones. So it is possible to terminate the exam early to protect yourself. But from the information collected, Ayanokaji always had an alibi, and there was no need to take risks. So the innocence of these two people has been cleared. Then the suspects that can be screened immediately become limited. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 562. So that's it? If it's not Sima Dian, then it's Bai Fang Sheng. Mr. Bai Fang. Mr. Tsukiro almost wanted to roll his eyes. Because, as the chief of the White House in the fifth period said, I will take action in this exam. Is this what happened in the end? And the time to take action is also clear. Ayanokaji was also at the crime scene. Therefore, Chief Bai Fang may have deliberately provoked Ayanokaji. He is really as childish and innocent as a child. But thanks to the Chief White Room. Because Mr. Tsuki City felt that this mission that spanned several months had finally come to an end. The reason why he was so sure was that he didn't think that if such a vicious incident happened, Oreki Houtarou would still sit back and watch. Although the other party seems to hate trouble, he always gets rid of it directly. This can be seen from what happened in Baoquan. Therefore, if you viciously hurt someone, even the chief White House officer will be dealt with. And this time the incident was Yagamai's private action, so naturally the other party needed to take the blame. Although it may seem excessive to put all the responsibility on one child, it is also very difficult for him to handle. So, Yagamai-san, you will understand. Although he is facing a huge amount of points to cash out, Mr. Tsuki City is in a rare better mood now. And the other side. Oreki-san and the others return to the camp. Komayayama and Kinoshita have been carried away on stretchers by teacher Ida, and are about to be sent to a ship for treatment. But Shinohara-san stayed. According to the teacher on the board, the bottom 5 groups have already appeared. Even if they abstain again, the points will not be combined again. So it's probably okay for Shinohara to abstain from voting at this time. Only. She was still uneasy about Shinohara-san, and also because she saw Komayayama and Kinoshita being attacked, but she just watched, and she felt very guilty after she calmed down. So I couldn't go back and look directly at the faces of these two companions. So, Tsubasa-senpai, did you find anything else after chasing me? Oreki-san collected information. As I said before, the opponent's speed is too fast. I'm afraid I have no choice but to catch up. But there's one thing that's annoying, Tsubasa said. What? Everyone else looked over. I confirmed that my speed was not as fast as that of the other party, but the other party seemed to be doing it on purpose, deliberately stopping when I was about to catch up. Then when I thought I was catching up, the other party left again. Does that mean you are playing tricks on people? What a nasty guy. Since it has become so dangerous, why not give up? Chi Kwanzi said. He actually regretted it, because if he had followed him from the beginning, he might have been able to appease Shinohara first, instead of being disliked by him now. You can choose to abstain, Oreki-san said. As the teacher on the board said, the 5 guaranteed groups have been confirmed. But this will result in the loss of possible results. I don't care, Ayanokaji said. He and Kai's scores are probably in the 60s. Although according to the rules of the exam, the top 30% of the groups will receive a reward of 50,000 private points, while the 70% will receive a reward of 10,000 points. Although it doesn't look like much, it is still very attractive to the students in Class D. As for Ayanokaji-san, who has no desires, she naturally has no objections. And he was not stupid enough to think that this sudden attack might have something to do with him. It's just that it's better not to give up yet, she said again. Yukimura specifically abstained in order not to drag us down. We still have his share to work hard for. This rhetoric seems righteous and awe-inspiring. In fact, it's because Shinohara has no face to meet her companions now, so she probably won't give up. Ike also wants to save her image for a while, and is also worried that Shinohara will be in danger again. So I finally chose to stay. In this way. Because of what happened, it was originally Tsubasa who was keeping vigil alone, but now it was Chi who volunteered to keep vigil. The next day arrived quickly. Because they did not receive any information from the school to terminate the exam, everyone continued to take the exam. The last designated area yesterday was J2. The rule of basic movement is that it will be the diagonal or the area before and after the previous area. Then you can continue according to the rules today. Only. After completing the basic movement of the second designated area, Oreki-san received a look from Ayanokaji-san. In other words, it is indeed like that. Nana's Tsubasa senpai is still following them. And her target is Ayanokaji-san. Although she is following the target, this schoolgirl is an honest person, but she is hostile to Ayanokaji. But Ayanokaji-san didn't recognize him at all. This may seem strange. Oreki-san then checked the information on the tablet. Whether to pay 10 material points to query the positioning, the query object is Tian's Yuxia. Beep, unable to display. There is still a problem with the positioning of Tianzi's schoolmates. But among them, Takia Yagami's GPS function has been restored. And the current location is near the material base D6. According to the rules, if the GPS fails, you can go to the D6 area for replacement or repair. So the Yashin disciples are preparing to continue taking the exam. Nana's senpai Oreki-san then spoke directly to the blonde girl who had just received a basic movement point. Huh? What's the matter? Oreki-senpai. This schoolgirl is still polite to others. But Oreki-san thinks that she might become rude later. There are two topics now. Which one are you going to go to? Oreki said. But I suggest you go to the topic in that area of F4. After all, you have to learn to make some space occasionally, Oreki said, and then looked in one direction. Well. Nana's Tsubasa looked over and found that Ike Kanji was surrounding Shinohara-san, seeming to be trying hard to talk. Shinohara-san's interest was still not very high. She barely recovered from the attack last night, but it was also stressful for her. Indeed. Now Shinohara Satsuki has also joined the team, but Shinohara and their schedule are different. So you can't score even if you follow them. But now they are all scoring points for basic movement, but she is not, so the only thing she wants to get is the subject points. The kind-hearted Nane senior student understood immediately. Occasionally give up the subject to those who need it. Then Nana's Tsubasa began to follow Oreki-senpai through mountains and rivers to a distant project. Both of them were in good physical condition, so they chose the shortest route, which meant it was more difficult to walk. It requires walking a section of mountain road and climbing a small part of the mountain. Can you still keep up? Senior Oreki turned around and asked. Now the distance between the two of them is about 7 or 8 meters from the ground. It is not very high, but it still creates danger. So at this time, ordinary people will be cautious, and their hearts will become only focused on safety. Will lower defense against others. In other words, this is the right place for Nana's senpai to be honest. It's barely okay, I've also had a good workout, Nane said while stepping on the rocks. Having dropped out of Hosen before, has your situation in the class become troublesome? Oreki-senpai asked. Mr. Baokun, indeed, he used violence to control the class, but I will not succumb to violence. The classmates in the class also criticized Baokun, so it may be a good thing for Baokun to drop out. Nana's Tsubasa also agrees with this point. That's right, then why are you targeting Ayanokaji? Oreki-senpai then asked. Nanace. Schoolgirl Wing looked over quickly. You are following Ayanokaji-san, right? I have a good personal relationship with him, Oreki-senpai said calmly. If you can't convince me, I'll keep standing in your way. Oreki-senpai, are you serious about this kind of thing? Nanace Tsubasa asked. Do you think I have the need to deceive you? Oreki-senpai asked. This is true. As expected, the second-year seniors are difficult to deal with. But Oreki-senpai is not only the second-year leader, but his girlfriend is also the student council president. If both parties completely stop her, maybe, it can really be done. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 563. And you don't want things like the attack on Komayayama and Kinoshita to happen again. It's better to say that you don't want to involve anyone other than Ayanokaji, Oreki continued. So we have to deal with the matter as soon as possible. For it. Oreki-senpai Nanace Tsubasa finally looked over with bright eyes. How much do you really know? How much do you know? Of course I don't know anything. I just said it so casually, but you were easily deceived, my junior, which makes me worry a little about your innocence. Because this is easier to deceive than Kushida-san. Before you enrolled in school, Principal Tsukijo and I met once, Oreki-senpai added. But after saying that, he kept quiet. Because the schoolgirl's expression has begun to change and become complicated. Obviously, Yu Chen knew her inside story. Chapter 261 The Secret of Tsubasa. Tsuki City knew Nanace Tsubasa's secret. It would be better to say that if he knew nothing about her, he would not have reached out to arrange her to enter this school. So she is the type who goes through the back door. And this is also the reason why she is assigned to Class D, because she has good academic ability, excellent athletic ability, is polite to others, and is very kind. But I don't think it's a good thing for Oreki-senpai and Ayanokaji-senpai to be together, Nanace Tsubasa said. But Oreki-san felt that even Kosaka Yanagi would flip the table if he heard this. Because what does it mean that he and Ayanokaji are walking together? Junior Wings, there are some things you shouldn't say carelessly. You have hatred for Ayanokaji, Oreki-senpai said. Nanace Tsubasa. This time, Nanace-senpai did not reply immediately, but slightly clenched her left hand into a fist. It's useless to attack me at this time, Oreki-senpai said. You have also seen that Byakuin can only become good under my hands. This was not just something I had seen before, but I was surprised. It was clear that Oreki-senpai looked thin and weak with a fair face. As a result, he could easily suppress the violent Byakuin. Nanace Tsubasa. I really didn't mean to hurt you. It's better to say I don't want to hurt anyone. In the 6 months before entering this school, I received training and trained myself, hoping that I would have a certain level of combat power. I will not succumb to violence, but I have to admit that sometimes violence can still come in handy. So my target is only one person. And that is Ayanokaji Kiyotaka, right? The training you mentioned half a year ago means something happened around that time, Oreki-senpai continued. Nanace Tsubasa. Didn't Oreki-senpai know about me from Mr. Tsukijo? Obviously, this schoolgirl finally realized that she had been being lied to. But the words have been spoken here, so apart from the showdown, the only way you can defeat me is here, Senior Oreki said quite confidently. Then you are really evil-minded, Nanace said. Because the road section here is very dangerous. If you are not careful, you may fall and be life-threatening. And it's true that she doesn't want to hurt others. So you can't attack the opponent here. Ayanokaji-senpai is a very excessive person, Nanace Tsubasa said. Because he is enjoying his current campus life, but he does not deserve this kind of campus life. Because he has no idea that in order to fight for his current freedom, someone has to bear the punishment on his behalf. Ayanokaji senpai escaped, and the person who helped him escape was the father of my childhood sweetheart, Mr. Matsuo. Mr. Matsuo's incident of assisting Ayanokaji senpai was exposed, and he was punished by Ayanokaji senpai's father. He issued an order to have all schools reject Ieikiro, my childhood sweetheart. Don't think it's incredible, Ayanokaji's father has this kind of power. And the result was that Ieikiro was expelled from school. And in order to appease Ayanokaji's father, Mr. Matsuo actually chose to set himself on fire. Ieikiro was in great pain when he found out about this. In the end, I also chose to commit suicide. And can you understand how you feel when you go to the other person's home because you are worried, only to see the other person hanging? I see. It is indeed a sad and painful story. Tsubasa senpai is inherently kind, so she will comfort the flustered Shinohara-san. Then this happened to my childhood sweetheart, and naturally I couldn't accept it. Especially, I saw that my childhood sweetheart and my family were in such misery, but Ayanokaji, the person who was the origin of the incident, was not punished in any way and was still enjoying campus life freely. This kind of thing, this kind of thing, this kind of thing. So, having said that, do you still want to stop me? Tsubasa-san pursed her lips and stared at Oreki-san with stubborn eyes. In other words, her confession was not completely forced, but she also hoped to convince Oreki-senpai through her confession. And I have only one goal, to make Ayanokaji-senpai drop out of school. He can't do it. He doesn't deserve to enjoy the freedom he has now, said Yisume. Oreki. Oreki-san closed his eyes and thought for a moment. Then he opened his eyes. Have you decided not to stand in my way anymore? Said Yisume. There seemed to be some relief. Oreki. How should I put it? I'm sorry for what happened to Ieikiro and Matsuo's family. But Nanae-senpai. You seem to have made a mistake, Oreki-senpai said. Nanae-Tsubasa was puzzled. You want to take revenge on Ayanokaji Kiyotaka, right? Nanae-Tsubasa. Yes, he doesn't deserve to enjoy campus life. Then where do you place Ayanokaji's father? Oreki-senpai said. Because you see for yourself, you helped Ayanokaji escape, and then Butler Matsuo and his family were punished by Ayanokaji's father, Oreki said. Then shouldn't the initiator be Ayanokaji's father? So, why did you choose to take revenge not on Ayanokaji's father but Ayanokaji himself? Of course, he was also wrong. He shouldn't run away. If he didn't run away, then Matsuo and his son would not be dealt with by Ayanokaji's father, Oreki said. Nanae-Tsubasa's eyes started to look a little confused. No, Oreki-senpai, you are defending Ayanokaji-senpai. You know it's a defense. But have you ever thought about who the person who really doesn't deserve happiness is? Oreki said. It's Ayanokaji's father. Not just you, Mr. Tsukijo is also responsible for expelling Ayanokaji from school. So, these two father and son are now at odds with each other, and if you really drop out of Ayanokaji, then you will be doing things for Ayanokaji's father. Do you think this kind of thing can be done? Can it be done? Are Matsuo and his son willing to see it? Senior Oreki said. And the voice became more and more deeply rooted in people's hearts. Because. Hey, hey, hey. Junior Wings was already startled. Because. She couldn't deny that the worst person in the end was Ayanokaji's father. If the other party hadn't arbitrarily deprived Ieikiro of his right to study, then Mr. Matsuo does not need to commit suicide in exchange for his son's right to study. Seeing his father do this for himself, the kind-hearted Ieikiro felt ashamed and finally chose to commit suicide. So, the worst person is indeed Ayanokaji's father. But Ayanokiji-senpai doesn't want to drop out of school. And Ayanakaji's father wants to make Ayanakaji-senpai drop out of school. So, Nanae Tsubasa himself also hopes that Ayanokiji-senpai will drop out of school. Because in this way, he has actually been carrying out the orders of Ayanokaji's father, who is the most unforgivable. Are you actually doing things for the other party? This feeling is quite uncomfortable and disgusting. So think carefully, is it Ayanokaji-senpai who hates you, or Ayanokaji's father who hates you? Which side do you want to be on? Oreki-senpai continued. There was still a road ahead, so he walked straight up. Only the blonde elementary school girl who had been deceived and became lame was left behind. Era, isn't this Oreki-san? The familiar big sister's voice came over. This is the topic that Oreki-san has reached. The person who organized the project was an acquaintance, teacher Hashinomi Yachie from Class B. The other party is still dressed in a cute and flirtatious style. But Oreki-san cannot participate in today's project, teacher Hashinomi Yachie said. Because it's a swimsuit beach volleyball competition for girls. Is it? Then it is indeed impossible to participate. But probably because this place is difficult to come to, Oreki-san didn't see any boys in this area. I just saw a few girls. 2 unfamiliar first-year girls, and then 3 second-year girls. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 564. Among the girls, there was one who was quite eye-catching. Has long pink blonde hair. Wearing a swimsuit with tiger skin patterns. There is very little room for cover. Even a little exposed. But large tracts of snow-white skin are revealed, which is quite beautiful in the sun. While looking at the opponent's thighs, Oreki-san moved his gaze upwards and landed on the opponent's face. Long time no see, Ichino-san, Oreki greeted. Please don't look over here, but Ichino-san looked very embarrassed. After all, it's huge. And the swimsuit provided by the teacher was very revealing. It's just that her score is not very high, and she has to form a team with Sakayanagi, so she hopes to get some points in the subject. So, I came on stage in person. Sorry, Oreki-san was about to leave. But the image of Ichino-san in a swimsuit is still imprinted in my mind. If it was him at the beginning, he would definitely be unable to resist such a scene, but fortunately, he has memorized pi several times in his mind, so he is still in a calm mood. And now this kind of shy Ichino's classmate makes him feel a little strange. I don't mean that I have to let you leave. Ichino's was embarrassed to see Oreki-san wanting to leave. Well, if there are boys here, maybe the game will be more interesting, Hashinomi Yachie also said. She exposed her obsession with Chibashira to Oreki-san. So I am also thinking about how to shut up the other party. So, it seems okay to ask Ichino's to give him some benefits and comfort him. So the fire started. But it is very stressful for girls. Because there will be a volleyball match later. That means jumping up. Very shy. And Oreki-san came into contact with the shameful looks from the girls. No, teachers, you are adults and they are still very innocent. Oreki-san thought so. It's just that according to the rules, it starts in 5 minutes. But we need 6 people to start. So if the 6th girl does not come over in 5 minutes, then the subject this time cannot be started, Hashinomi Yachie said. XN. This caused agitation among the girls. Is it because they have been waiting here for half an hour in their swimsuits? I'll do it. It was just at this time that everyone noticed a girl with long blonde hair running towards here. And this is not a stranger, it is Nanae Tsubasa, Tsubasa's junior schoolmate. She finally chose to catch up. Have you thought it through? Because the 6th girl has arrived, the game can start. But there is 10 minutes of preparation time before starting. While Oreki-san was sitting on the side, Tsubasa-senpai finished changing her clothes and came to his side. Oreki spoke to her. Nanaste subasa. It's really hard to accept. But it's really disgusting to think that I'm working for Ayanokaji's father. That is to say. She wanted to confront Ayanokaji's father. Also, although I have always wanted to say that Ayanokaji-senpai does not deserve to live in this school. It's just that when Iekiro and his son were in trouble, Ayanokaji-senpai was always in the training high school. He didn't go out. So it's a little unfair to just put the blame on him. But it would have been better if he had not chosen to escape in the first place and then Mr. Matsuo had not helped him. Then there won't be any tragedy, Junior Wing said with deep emotion. Yes. It would be nice if some things didn't happen. Sometimes I think so, but the reality is very cruel. Then do you have any other ideas? Senior Oreki said. Any idea? I don't know. Should I continue to stay in this school? Or what to do? So, Oreki-senpai, you confused me. Not just confused, but even deceived. What Oreki-senpai was thinking at this time was that this schoolgirl was indeed more innocent than Kushida. It's also easier to cheat. Then, under the whistle given by teacher Chie Hashinomi, Tsubasa also quickly walked to the designated area, and she was assigned to Ichino's group. Then the game begins. This is beach swimsuit volleyball for girls. But don't think that just because they are girls, they are slow and the competition is fierce. The only pity is that I didn't bring my camera. As the only male audience member, Oreki-san thought with a little regret. And the other side. D6 area. All the tea stems fell down. Kamuro-san, who was wearing 3 hairpins, frowned slightly. She was asked by Sakayanagi to make tea. Generally speaking, it is a good sign that the tea stems float. Maybe it's bad luck, Sakayanagi said. I see dark clouds coming here, so it's probably going to rain tonight. The divine room. I'm making tea for you. Shouldn't it be that some bad luck happened to you? What other things related to me are still on the island, said Sakayanagi. Oreki-kun. Don't forget, he's now on a mission to get to the top of the list. And Sakayanagi Yuzu said. Mr. Yu Cheng has a special designation and does not allow men and women of the opposite sex to cross the line. So what else do I have to worry about? Indeed. This is very reassuring. Chapter 262, So I was the one who changed Ibuki's ambition? Then Shiina-kun. Come on. Banlieue classmate seemed quite relieved. Rather, the rules set by Principal Yu Cheng may seem annoying, but they are also practical, so that no one will worry about something bad happening. After all, the benefits of this school are so good, no one wants to be expelled for nothing, especially after passing the exit exam several times and then being able to stay. And Kosake Anaga sometimes feels that Houtarou is too cold. He didn't seem to care much about that aspect. Even if he arranged for Kamuro-san to send him equipment, he pretended he didn't know about it. And now, under the witness of Oreki-san, the girls' beach volleyball project ended. The first place is the team between Fanbo and Tsubasa. And the second place is other girls. The first grader took third place. But this can be regarded as a reward for all participants. In addition to scoring points, we also received canned water, 3 bottles per person. Probably feeling ashamed, Fanbo left after finishing scoring and changing clothes. Actually, teacher Hashinomi Yachie did not clean up the scene immediately, but made a suggestion to Oreki-san. Do I need to keep my swimsuit? I would turn a blind eye. No. Please don't say such horrible things, he is not a pervert. As a result, Oreki-san also left this area. Since he can't participate in this subject, he has to find the next subject. After all, he still shoulders the important task of getting first place. Only. Oreki-senpai. Please wait. Oreki-senpai. Before Oreki could walk far, Footsteps were heard from behind. It was Nana's Tsubasa who was chasing closely. Oreki then turned to look at the innocent schoolgirl who had been deceived into lameness. That Ichino-senpai left a bottle of water over just now, and she asked me to bring it to you. So, Fanbo is really an archangel. There are 4 ways to replenish supplies. 1. Return to the material stronghold in Area D6 to replenish supplies. 2. Obtain material rewards when participating in the project. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 565. 3. It can be obtained in the wild. The school will not poison it. Of course, preparations for disinfection must be made. Water needs to be boiled, etc. Then you need to use a pot and find a water source. 4. After receiving the material rewards for the project, their names will not be recorded and they can be given to each other. So Hanami gave a little of her reward to him. As for Oreki, he didn't carry so many supplies when he came out of Zyoban Liu. After all, if the luggage became heavy, his movements would be interfered with. Oreki brought some water with him. Yesterday he saw that Ayanokaji and his group were in short supply, so he took it out. And now I only have half a bottle of water, 550 ml, in my backpack. Because it was a gift from Ichino's, Oreki-san put the unopened mineral water in his backpack. After giving away the things, Senior Wing seemed to be a little confused. If you still want to follow me to the next topic, then feel free, Oreki-senpai said. Well, that's not what I meant. Dainyi Swame shook her head. Actually, I hid some news from Senior. Oh. So you, an honest little guy, are here to tell the truth? Therefore, Oreki-senpai remained quiet and listened to her narration. Half of Tsubasa-senpai's narrative is known. That means she was indeed brought in by Yu Chang, that is, through the back door. Tsukijo knew about her situation and gave her a chance to take revenge on Ayanokaji, so he took her to a Kyosei high school. Everyone knows this. Tsubasa-senpai was sacrificed by Mr. Tsukijo. Soon after the first-year students entered the school, Yu Cheng selected one person from each class to conduct science popularization. It's just that the selected person can also bring one more companion. So a total of 8 students accepted Mr. Tsukijo's offer to drop out of school, Ayanokaji Kiyotaka, and then he could get 20 million or the equivalent of 16 million in cash. It's a pretty attractive proposition. After all, everyone is a student, even if some people have a good family background, they cannot get so many points just by being a student. And if you have an average family background, it would be wonderful to think about getting such a huge amount of cash. Study for free in school, and then graduate with money. Straight to the peak of life. And this is why Baoquin is taking action. But it's a pity, Tsubasa-senpai. This news has been revealed by the loudmouthed Yagami Takia. So you were actually betrayed by Yagami. But the news that Tsubasa brought was not just this. That is, although Hosen was expelled from school, for this exam, she, Utsunomiya, Haru Sakurako, who had been promoted to Class B, and even Amasawa Ichika from Class A joined forces. Prepare to deal with Ayanokaji Kiyotaka at this opportunity. The plan is for her to attack Ayanokaji as the primary chess piece and create a fight. Then Ichika Amasawa was responsible for taking photos. As long as the evidence is left, and then the testimony is added, this method can be used to force Ayanokaji to drop out of school. This plan will probably be implemented on the penultimate or 3rd day of the exam. But now, I have become confused. The schoolgirl's eyes became hesitant. Confused. It's okay to be confused. You have been sacrificed by Mr. Tsukijo since you entered school, so you have met all bad people. Let's live in this school for now, Oreki-senpai said. Find your own meaning. Especially for refusing to be a pawn of Ayanokaji's father. Forcing people to this point, and then trying to use them as pawns or something, is simply too much. And you must think so too. And the winged schoolgirl nodded. Oreki-senpai continued, and if you graduate from this school from Class A, you can get an exemption from taking the exam and go to the university you want, or get the position you want. It represents the power against Ayanokaji's father. So either you can get promoted or you can accumulate points and graduate from Class A, you can get some help. Although it is an ant that shakes an elephant, it still has the power to bite the elephant. And when he said this, Oreki-senpai's words seemed to stop for a moment. But Tsubasa's eyes shone brightly. Even if it is such a small hope, then I will not give up. In other words, have you also joined the exploitative army of collecting points? Then, because Tsubasa-senpai was just here to inform, she did not follow Oreki-san when he went to the next topic. She probably realized that when she and Oreki-senpai were acting together, the other person was waiting for her. Therefore, she was embarrassed to delay the other party any longer. Rather, I am very grateful to Oreki-senpai, because I almost became a pawn of Ayanokaji's father who wanted to vomit. This kind of thing really made her sick. Beep. Your account score at 11 base movement points. Oreki-san completed the 4th basic move today and completed 4 tasks at the same time. The total score is 44 at 20 equals 64 points. As a reward, I got 2 bottles of water and 3 packs of Lautan pickled cabbage noodles. I don't really want to eat instant noodles. So he took out the dried meat. It's just that Tsubasa is still innocent. Oreki-senpai thought in his mind. Because of her, Haru Sakurako, Utsunomiya, and Amasawa Ichika all aim to attack Ayanokaji Kiyotaka. But, although several people unite. But didn't you see that Haru Sakurako, Utsunomiya, and Amasawa Ichika were all trying to improve their scores? So you are the only one who was fooled, Tsubasa-senpai. Most likely, everyone is using you as a gun to test Ayanokaji. But, beep, do you want to spend 10 material points to check the score? Of course. Note, the duration of this query is 3 minutes, and only the top 10 and bottom 10 information of the owner will be displayed. As Oreki-san touched the screen, the ranking of the top 11 students' scores appeared on the tablet interface. First place, Oreki Houtarou, 406 points. Takahiraji, a member of the large group, has abstained. Second place Haru Sakurako, Utsunomi Yariku, 2 passerby NPCS, 331 points, group members 2 passerby NPCS have abstained. Third place, Ichika Amasawa, NPC in the same class, group member passerby NPC has abstained, 301 points. No 4. Number 7 Neunya. The NPC in the same class has given up, 250 points. The 10th place Horikita Susan scored 200 points. Number 11 Rei Ibuki, whose team members have abstained, scored 188 points. Judging from the rankings, 2 acquaintances are on the list, and first year Utsunomiya and the others are still brushing up points. It's just important to note that Amasawa Ichika didn't score points today, so there was a slight problem. Think so? Oreki-san decided to take a walk around. Today's 4th designated area is F3, so tomorrow should also start near this area. This area is completely on the mountain, there are no supplies around, and it looks relatively barren. Only. Oreki-san suddenly turned and headed northwest. He noticed that a tent was stationed nearby. The tent is half open. But there was no one. But there is an open backpack on one side, and there is only a small box of dried meat in the backpack. And the mineral water, well, there are only 2 empty mineral water bottles. But surprisingly, there was a stack of books on one side. Counting, there are 14 books in total. The types of books are very mixed, including romance novels, literary classics, and even a book on quantum mechanics and a book on mathematical mysteries. Oreki-san said that carrying too much luggage will affect the speed and efficiency of movement. And these 14 books weigh more than 10 kilograms in total. It's a burden. And someone who would bring such a pile of books with him during the exam, Oreki-san printed a shadow in his mind. He then exited the tent, sat outside the tent for a while, and then took action. The firewood started to burn. About 10 minutes later, someone came running towards here quickly. The other person has short light blue hair. But the face is relatively pale and the lips are a little chapped, which are all signs of dehydration. You are in a dehydrated state, Oreki-san said. When trying to survive on an uninhabited island, although the school provides supplies, there are also students who do not return to the D6 supply base to obtain supplies in order to rush on their way. For example, something like Ibuki. Oreki Houtarou, Rei Ibuki looked very agitated. You entered my tent. Oreki. Because of curiosity. You can't just go in if you're curious. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 566. Probably because I feel ashamed. Ibuki's voice became quieter. You still have 14 books with you, Oreki said. Ibuki. As I said, I have to read a book every day, as if it's a task. Then you are great. Do you still want to compete with Horikita? Oreki-san said. Did you check our score? Horikita Suzune, but Ibuki's mood seemed to be slightly depressed. That guy's score is a little higher than mine, but as long as you stay near the randomly designated area for the last time today, then you have a good chance of getting a high score tomorrow. Then he said as if to supplement. I didn't get any points for the fourth basic move today. Because the fourth basic movement score every day is regular for the first 3 times and random for the 4th time, it may be far more random. So it's normal if you can't get it? Only. Some time ago, Oreki-san and Ibuki-san also had dealings with each other because of precognitive dreams. But at that time, he was tricked into hugging by Kosakalu and turned into a pervert who attacked Loli. Then I got relief because I got to know Ibuki-san. But at that time, Ibuki-san also became a police officer. So why would she change her mind? She doesn't look like someone who wants to be a police officer. And what she said at that time was that you actually called Hiri Shiina. This feels weird. Because if you don't call her Shiina-san, why should you call her Shiina-san? It's probably useless just to ask Ibuki now. Here's the water for you. Oreki-san took out the unopened bottle of mineral water given by Itchy Nose. Ibuki. Are you sympathizing with me? Did you know that our class is selling supplies now? Ibuki said, I can get them for free at any time. Then go ahead. If you go back to the supply point to replenish your supplies, you won't be able to get back on time to get points. Ibuki. I owe you a favor. You just gave me a whole bottle. How many do you have left? Probably half a bottle, Oreki-san said honestly. Ibuki. You treat me. It's nothing, Ibuki said quickly. Then I only want half a bottle. No, Oreki-san wanted to refuse. Because if it's half a bottle, then I drank it myself. If she wants it again, in love terms, it will be an indirect kiss. And even if you ignore this aspect, he has no other relationship with Ibuki-san. Feeling pressured. Don't worry about it, mother-in-law, but Ibuki had already started to grab it openly. I'll give you the jerky too, she said. In other words, is it treated as barter for barter? What a troublesome man. But Oreki-san forgave her for Mirai's sake. So he handed her the half-drunk water. She seemed to only notice the problem when she reached out to take it. But at this time, I was too embarrassed to refuse or ask for a replacement. Ibuki then chose to change the topic. Speaking of which, do you like Horikita Suzune? Chapter 263, so I was the one who changed Ibuki's ambition? Then Shiina-san. Next. Ibuki-san is probably the type who doesn't have many friends. Because she suddenly said that she likes Horikita Suzune. It can be seen that Rei Ibuki really doesn't know how to talk to others. I don't have many friends either. It is unimaginable that Mirai actually has a good relationship with Koi Tayanagi and Shiina-san. It seems that she will also change in the future. But now he is still in a wooden state. I am currently dating Yuzusaka Yanagi, Oreki-san said. That's okay, Ibuki said. X2. The atmosphere instantly became awkward. I originally wanted to be an astronomer, Ibuki Rei continued. But Ibuki said. I found that even though my academic ability has improved, I still can't understand it. So, I thought, should I choose a more relaxed career? An easier career? How about the police, Oreki-san said. Ibuki looked at him in surprise. Police? Why do you say police? Ibuki seemed surprised. Maybe he had never considered this before. I just think you have a strong sense of justice, so maybe you can choose this direction, and your skills are pretty good, right? Oreki said. That kind of thing. Ibuki paused. Because of a strong sense of justice or something. This incident probably refers to the past time when she was taking the preferential treatment test on the ship, and then she saw the girls in the class, Manabe and the others bullying Kuruzawa Megami from Class D. Then she was asked to deal with it by Oreki. At that time, she wanted to carry out the image of a person with a strong sense of justice who resisted Ryuan from the beginning, so she upheld justice. But this incident was later confirmed by Long Yuan. Is there something wrong with your brain? Why are you helping students from other classes bully people in your own class? Moreover, Oreki Houtarou is a big scumbag, you were deceived by him, you were deceived. But now is different from the past. Ibuki himself joined the student council. Student council president Yuzusaka Yanagi is Oreki's girlfriend. At the same time, Ryuan seems to have given up and is working for Oreki Houtarou. Even for this exam, Class C can also benefit from it, so it's okay not to talk about the past. Then the atmosphere between the two seemed to become completely awkward. Just when he thought Ibuki would continue to be quiet, Ibuki suddenly said, "It seems good. Right. Because in the future you will be Officer Ibuki." Oreki. Wait a moment. Oreki-san suddenly realized that the person who made Ibuki change his mind was not someone else, was it him? Only. So what exactly is going on with future Shiina-san? Then Shiina sighed. Oreki-san tried to ask. Did she tell you about her future prospects or anything like that? She and I have an average relationship, Ibuki said. But sometimes they talk to me, but they don't have this content. Oh. Then it's okay. But your relationship in the future looks very good, and your friendship with Xiao Banliu will also be good in the future. Probably because Ibuki-san would be too embarrassed to drink water if he stayed. Oreki-san did not continue to stay with Ibuki-san. Because he remembered that before Ibuki went to the island, he came to Horikita-san and wanted to challenge the two of them. At that time, Ibuki-san seemed quite strong. But now he is acting alone, even if he does not return to the supply point, he has to set up camp and prepare to score points. I am afraid it is also because of this competitive spirit. But she didn't understand it at all. Only a solo player can get the group reward of basic movement points the fastest. But she has a group. Therefore, even if she is the first to reach the designated area, she can only get 1 point. I'm afraid this is also the reason why Ibuki-san's score is lower than Horikita-san's. She was implicated by her teammates. It would be better to say that Hiyori-san is also evil-minded. He knows that Ibuki-san is not good at thinking, but in the end he does not fully explain the rules of the exam to her. But now her teammates have abstained, so she can rely on her own strength. When using a tablet for GPS positioning, Oreki quickly discovered something. That is, Horikita-san is very close. It is only a 10-minute walk from this current area. So if we want to stay overnight, of course Oreki-san is willing to camp next to Horikita-san. Horikita Suzun is used to surviving on the small island. At this point in time, we are setting up camp regularly. Although it is a portable tent, you still need to hammer nails into it every time. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 567. And Horikita Suzun is doing just that now. But while continuing to set up camp, he suddenly stopped. Because a man came over and squatted down next to her. He watched her use the hammer, then stretched out her left hand and pressed the iron nail directly into the soil. Oreki Houtarou. Horikita Suzun quickly called out the other person's name. "Yeah. It's me," Oreki-san said. "Want to help?" Horikita Suzun. "Haven't you already helped? I saw your score, and you've already reached 10th place," Oreki-san said. "Very relieved. Is it? Because the tablet can only query the top 10 and bottom 10 information. The query function was opened the day before yesterday. However, Horikita Suzun could not find information about Oreki Houtarou. This is indeed the case now. This guy's physical fitness and other aspects are also comprehensive. She didn't see him on the subject a few days ago, so she thought he was lagging behind, but that was okay. After all, this time the exam was betting on the 6th assistant of J Yuanji, so it was the 6th assistant of J Yuanji who was going to get the first place. Then Oreki-san should take advantage of the situation, otherwise it would be bad if he overshadows Kojinji-san. Only Kojinji-kun is taking advantage of this, Oreki said. But he teamed up with me again. So now I have to work on it alone. Oreki-san briefly explained. This is indeed in line with Takahiraji-san's style. Horikita has already accepted that this former classmate is unexpected number one. It's just that Oreki-san is also very excessive, because he tried to fool Kojinji Rokusuk with a challenge, but in the end he was completely fishing for fish. And these are all thinking about official matters. Horikita Suzun was also trying hard to force herself to think about this. In fact, this is not what she cares about now. During the Kojima exam this time, while on the ship, she found that she was shaken by Oreki Houtarou. According to Sakura-san, who has consulted her several times, she may be falling into love troubles. And this happened last year. So she just paid attention and stopped paying attention. After all, Oreki-san is currently dating President Itayanagi. She's not a bad woman. And she can also restrain herself. For example, she hasn't seen Oreki Houtarou for a week now. Well, she feels quite at ease. But now that the other party appeared, she found that she was shaken badly. This is not a good state. And today, in order to get the points for basic movement, she ran a lot of places. Because her body has been exercising, she will naturally sweat. So she actually doesn't want him to get close to her right now. If the other party smells the scent on his body or something, that kind of thing. And thinking about it? Speaking of Horikita. Oreki-san turned around and almost met Horikita Suzun. Brush. But Horikita Suzun stood up directly. Then he took 2 steps back as if to avoid him. "I'm going to take a shower first," Horikita Suzun said. "If I take a shower now, I can go to bed early today." "I saw a small waterfall and a pool," Suzun said. "Does that mean taking a cold shower? But the weather is relatively hot now, so it's okay to wash it like this." Oreki. "Then I'll give you a break." "No need," but Horikita-san refused firmly. "It looks cold like ice." Oreki. Fine. Horikita-san is rarely decisive, and his current behavior makes people feel a little bit raw. We just haven't seen each other for a week. Horikita-san, have you become like this? Oreki-san is thinking about whether his relationship with Horikita Suzun is in crisis. And it was about 20 minutes later. Horikita-san is back. Her hair was slightly moist, and there was still a touch of moisture on her neck. It smells like shower gel. She has the aura of a beautiful woman taking a bath. It's just that this look is a little different. I always felt like there was something wrong with Horikita Suzun. Oreki-san thought about it for a moment. So we haven't seen each other for a week, can I shake hands? Oreki-san felt that Horikita-san seemed to be avoiding him, so he tried to make physical contact. He didn't want there to be any problems in their relationship. Horikita Suzun. However, even though it was just such a simple request, Horikita-san did not agree immediately, but thought about it for several seconds. It does seem okay to shake hands, but probably not possible. Horikita-san hesitated for a moment, then refused. Oh. That's it? It's not right. What's the matter with you? Oreki-san looked at Horikita Suzun in surprise. Because there is something wrong with this Horikita-san. When he met Kushida-san in the past, Oreki-san shook hands with Horikita Suzun on the grounds that he wanted to gain more experience against Kushida-san. There was also some physical contact. But at that time, she had no fluctuations. Later, Arisu directly announced a high-profile relationship with him. After the news broke, he shook hands with Horikita Suzun, and the other party did not refuse. Help her return the book. She didn't refuse either. It shows that Horikita-san doesn't think there is anything out of bounds in the physical contact between her and him. And now, it's just a handshake, and you refuse. What's wrong with you? Oreki-san walked forward and approached. In fact, the best solution is to hold her palm directly and then use the recovery ability. If there is a physical problem, address it directly. But now, he decided to press Horikita Suzun's forehead with his left hand and pretend to check her temperature. So the body is directly forward. But Horikita Suzun seemed startled. She took a half step back. Just when people thought she was showing signs of fear, she stood still. And when Oreki-san's eyes met hers, you could see her slender eyelashes blinking slightly. But when Oreki-san's left hand pressed her shoulder, she seemed to freeze. And then, Oreki found that her eyes were actually closed. And this look. He just wanted to take her temperature and make this gesture to use his recovery ability to keep her healthy. Result. What's going on with your current behavior? Oreki. He stared at Horikita-san's closed eyes. Gazing at her warm lips. Did you mean to allow him to kiss her? It seems there is no problem with body temperature, Oreki-san said. His left hand pressed on her forehead, and Horikita Suzun finally realized that the other person just wanted to see her condition. Ringtone. She opened her eyes. But Horikita Suzun seemed to be worried about gains and losses. Really? Horikita Suzun is very strange today. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 568. Oreki-san thought to himself. Considering Horikita-san's condition, Oreki-san did not leave. Instead, he decided to spend some time with the other person first. Crackling. A small pile of firewood was set alight. On the edge of the firewood, there were 4 pieces of corn with wooden sticks. Then there are a few pieces of dried meat, which are ready to be heated before eating. As for the instant noodle supplies Oreki-san got, he didn't think it was necessary to use them. Oreki-san helped Horikita-san get the dried meat from Ibuki-san. Horikita. Speaking of which, you've been at the supply point these days, right? Horikita Suzun suddenly spoke. Yeah, Oreki-san nodded. Banliu is here too. Banliu also took the exam as the commander of Class A. Responsible for liaison and ensuring the victory of Oreki-san and Kojinji-san. It has a great effect. He is also the student council president and is very capable. Only. Horikita Suzune. Then have you and Sakayanagi? Horikita-san was about to ask. She felt that this kind of topic was a bit strange, so she stopped talking only halfway. And Oreki noticed her strange behavior. The atmosphere seemed to calm down all of a sudden. And this atmosphere made Oreki-san feel a little dazed, because it felt like he was back on the ship, because the two of them were alone, and then the atmosphere became awkward. At that time, he even asked Kushida-san for help. As a result, a year later and you are back here? Are we strangers? Oreki-san asked. Ringtone. Probably, no. So they are friends, right? Oreki-san said. Friends? Indeed, Horikita Suzune didn't have many friends in the past, but when she came to this school, she thought there was nothing wrong with being alone at first. But soon, she was changed. If one person is cheated, only one person can bear it. At the same time, a person's ability is limited, so sometimes he needs to rely on others. Isn't it normal for friends to shake hands? Oreki-san said. Then he stretched out his hand. Ringtone. 2. Suzune decided to correct her attitude. She raised her hand, only to find that Oreki-san didn't want to shake her hand, but directly intertwined his fingers with hers. This kind of behavior has happened in the past. But now, I felt a little ashamed for no reason. Boom, at this time, there was the sound of a branch being stepped on. In other words, there is someone nearby. Chapter 264 Amasawa Ichika, bottom line? What is that? Honest people will be restrained. There is someone nearby. But when he discovered this, Oreki-san didn't take any action. Because he has noticed that the people nearby are not strangers. And the other party didn't hide away, he actually walked out on his own. That. A girl with long blonde hair and a single ponytail came out from the southeast. Wearing red sportswear. This is indeed an acquaintance, Tsubasa Nanase, Tsubasa Senpai, whom Oreki-san has been in contact with in the past few days. For it. Tsubasa probably came here specifically because she was holding a tablet in her left hand. There was a light on the tablet and the word GPS was displayed on it. In other words, it comes through positioning. But her expression seemed quite shocked, but this honest schoolgirl was also a polite person. That. She said a little embarrassed. Did I come at a bad time? Is it the right time to come? This is indeed the case. If no one comes, then Oreki-san and Horikita-san will just shake hands now, but it won't necessarily change later. After all, Horikita-san is acting weird today, so we need to investigate. Therefore, Oreki-san may also stay with Horikita-san tonight. Just because of the appearance of Tsubasa, this plan was temporarily ruined. So, he let go of the hand that was intertwined with Horikita-san. I can understand this honest schoolgirl's thoughts. I probably came specifically to find him through GPS positioning, but when I found him, I found out that he was cheating on me. As the boyfriend of the student council president, it was really bad to be witnessed being intimate with other girls. This picture is indeed difficult for an honest schoolgirl to understand. So shocked. Horikita-san has no knowledge in this area, but Tsubasa-senpai still knows. That is to say, I need to spend a little extra time later, and then educate my schoolmates on the fact that true love may occur several times in a person's life. So, what happened? Oreki-san said. You came to me specifically. During the day, Oreki invited his schoolgirl to go with him, but she felt that she would be a drag on him, so she left. But now I rushed here in a hurry, without even bringing my backpack. That, Backpack was thrown halfway, Nane-Tsubasa said. Then. She seemed to glance at Horikita-senpai with some hesitation. Horikita Suzune. Horikita-sen actually doesn't care that much about the arrival of his schoolmates now. What she was paying attention to was Oreki-san's hand that had withdrawn. When someone lets go, I always feel a little bit empty. She also doesn't understand whether this emotion is right or wrong. It was obvious that she was distracted right now. Horikita-san is someone whom Sakayanagi-san also trusts, Oreki said after looking at her. Believable. But these words were extremely damaging to Junior Wing. Because, Oreki-senpai, since Horikita-senpai is someone whom Sakayanagi-senpai trusts, can you just steal food like this behind Sakayanagi-senpai's back? How long have you been in this relationship? Does Sakayanagi-senpai know? Oreki-senpai, you are cheating, don't you think this is a bad thing? And the cheating partner is your girlfriend's trusted friend. Does your girlfriend really not care? Tsubasa's sense of justice controls her. But now doesn't seem to be the time to talk about this. Well, actually I discovered something big, Nane-Tsubasa said. First grade class A, Ichika Amasawa. I witnessed her dueling with my class teacher, Sima Dion. Then she got injured and ran away, the schoolgirl said. And I wanted to chase him, but found that I lost him. Then I used positioning and found Oreki-senpai. Come here. That's why her backpack was not with her, and her body was carrying a little heat. It was obvious that she had just worked hard to run here. Judging from her leg strength, she may have run through several areas in a row. It's just that the matter is really big. Ichika Amasawa was actually attacked and even injured and ran away. Are you sure it was your class teacher who attacked Amasawa? Oreki asked. Not sure, Nane-Tsubasa said. At that time, I was just surprised, but when I reacted, I found that Tian-san had run away, and then I subconsciously wanted to follow him. Because at that time, I noticed that Tianzi's left hand was drooping. I didn't know if it was injured or fractured. Then you are really honest. It's just scary. Suddenly, I found that my class teacher actually got violent and hurt people. Most students will definitely not be able to accept this kind of contrast. Only. If something like this happened, shouldn't it be reported to the teachers first? Oreki-senpai said. Komayayama and Kinoshita were attacked before, but no suspects were found. And now Ichika Amasawa has also been attacked. So Xiaomi Yashin and the others may have been attacked by this teacher Sima Dion. For everyone's safety, it is important to report to faculty and staff. Not really. Oreki could confirm that the person who attacked Komayayama and Kinoshita was the chief Hakubo and junior student Takia Yagami. But since Mark Dion, the tutor of Class D in the first grade, has also acted to harm students and was witnessed by others, he is naturally a perfect target to take the blame. For someone like this who has shown danger, Oreki-san is willing to give him a ride. Send directly to school. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 569. Well, I couldn't react for a while. Because the class teacher is actually such a master, and then he attacks the students. Senior Wings shook her head slightly. Nane-Tsubasa really didn't notice this. Oreki-san glanced at Horikita-san, who was still dumbfounded. He was probably still in a daze from the previous contact. Only. They just shook hands, haven't they come to their senses yet? I've obviously held her hand many times in the past. In the precognitive dream, Horikita-san has grown into lawyer Horikita, and has shaken his hand many times. As a result, he was stunned now just because he held hands. Oreki-san didn't know what to say. But Let's find out more about the specific situation. You mean you wanted to follow Amasawa who was running away, but then lost him, Oreki-san asked. Well, at that time I realized that I had lost track of you, but I didn't dare to go back to the homeroom teacher's area, so I used GPS to locate Oreki-senpai's side, and then came over, Nanae Tsubasa said. I see. Oreki-san nodded. Then you should take a rest first. Stay with Horikita-san first. I'll go back to Area D6 or look for classmates nearby. My classmates redeemed radios and can directly contact Arisu Sakayanagi in Area D6. And that way, we can directly contact the teacher on duty, Oreki said. Then why bother Oreki-senpai? Nanae Tsubasa had seen Oreki-senpai holding Hosen with one hand. Therefore, she still trusts Oreki Houtarou's strength. And the other party's plan is the best way to deal with it? First, report such an emergency to the teachers, and then arrange for personnel to search for the injured classmate Amasawa Ichika. This is a must. Then if it's possible, then I also want to help. Just staying here to receive shelter is a bit unacceptable to the honest Tsubasa. Because Oreki-senpai might take risks when he goes out now, and he might even meet Mr. Shimakura. It's better not to give it up now. I can't confirm whether your class teacher noticed you were there at that time. So for your safety, I don't want to take risks with you. For it. There is no way to refuse this. It was completely unexpected that the silent class teacher was actually a martial artist. And it's super strong. So, after letting the schoolgirl stay at Horikita-san's camp, Oreki took the tablet and left. Would you like to pay 10 material points for GPS positioning inquiry? Beep. The query object is Ichika Amasawa and cannot be searched. Is that really the case? Tianzi's wristband positioning function still hasn't been restored. And that's of course. According to what Tsubasa said, he witnessed Amasawa being attacked, and then Amaze ran away. Since he ran away, couldn't he still be stupidly wearing the bracelet and wait for Sima Dion to follow him according to the GPS positioning? Only. Oreki-san has some impressions of the homeroom teacher of first year class D, Shimakura. He is a pot-headed, unsmiling person. She is a new teacher and serves as the head teacher of class D in the first grade. Then I can fight against Amasawa Ichika, a White House student. Presumably they are also related people. For example, an instructor, or something. It seemed that Mr. Yu Chen was not sincere at all. While he was talking about arranging for Mr. Bai Fang to come in, he even brought the adults in. And thinking about it, Oreki Houtarou suddenly walked forward for about 100 meters before suddenly stopping. Then look in one direction. Do you need me to invite you out? He said to the empty forest. Senior Amasawa. Percent. The air seemed to be stagnant. But 3 seconds later, I thought my ability to control my breath was pretty good. A pleasant voice came from not far away, and a girl with purple ponytails holding her right arm with her left hand walked out of the forest. This girl is obviously cute, but she has an aura of charm. The lips are curved, quite cute. He is a person who is good at using his cuteness. It's just that he looks a little embarrassed now. Your aura of restraint is pretty good, Oreki-san said. I reasoned that you would be around. Oh. Amasawa Ichika blinked lightly. How to say? First of all, Amasawa-senpai, your strength is superior to Nanae's, and she discovered that you and Shimakura were fighting, and then you ran away. But she lost track of you. I think it's not that she lost track of you, but that you intentionally left her behind. Because if Nanae reports what he witnessed, Nanae Tsubasa will be in danger. You don't want to see the situation, so you will definitely follow up and see what the other party does. Ichika Amasawa. What Oreki-senpai said is very strange. What does it mean that if Nanae-san goes to report it, she will be the one who is in danger? Ordinary people can't come to this school. he is a newcomer and serves as the class teacher. Although he is only a student in Class D, his qualifications are not comparable. So he was probably arranged by Mr. Tsukijo, Oreki said. Well, Mr. Tsukijo is the examiner, so even if there is unfavorable news reported, he will be suppressed. So if we really report it, then Nanae-senpai is really in danger. 2. The image of Mr. Tsukijo as the villain boss has become deeply rooted in people's hearts. And Amasawa Jr. seemed to accept this statement. That's true, but since Oreki-senpai understands so well, then I don't have to deal with Nanae-san, Amasawa said at once. No. What you said is quite scary. Need help? Oreki watched her move from far to near, and then stopped about 2 meters away from him. But Oreki didn't move forward. The left hand is probably dislocated, Ichika, Amasawa said. Other injuries can be recovered as much as possible in just a few days. That's it, then do you want to cooperate? Although he was declined by Amasawa-senpai, Oreki-senpai said. Exit Secretary Mark Dion. Even Amasawa Ichika looked at this surprising senior in astonishment. Because the other person said something surprising. Do you want to drop out as the head teacher of Class D in the first grade? This is probably the first time in the history of this school. You are Shirobo-san, right? Dan, Oreki-senpai said. And Yagami Takia is also a Shirobo student. Ichika, Amasawa. Okay. This is where my underwear has been seen. Kaka. 10 minutes later, Oreki-san and the schoolgirl, whose dislocation had been restored and who was in a complicated mood, were on their way to the D6 area. She was attacked and Tsubasa Nanae was a witness. At the same time, Tienzi's junior classmate is still a wounded person. So if there are her accusations, and coupled with the injuries of Komayayama and Kinoshita, it is not impossible for Sima Dion to be expelled from school. And now Amasawa Ichika is following Oreki-san back to the D6 area to examine his injuries and leave evidence. And on the way back. Actually, you were the one who was chased by Tsubasa-senpai but was deliberately thrown away at that time, Oreki-senpai said. Then the person who attacked Komayayama and the others was also Yagami Takia. Ichika, Amasawa. Oreki-senpai seems to know everything. And this means there is no denial, right? Ichika, Amasawa had no choice but to become honest for the time being. I found that Yagami's GPS location could not be searched, and then I thought he might want to do something. So I broke the GPS of my bracelet. Then I followed him. And it was then that I realized what he wanted to do. He attacked Komayayama and Kinoshita. Of course, for him it's probably as simple as playing, Amasawa Ichika said. But I do not like it. It's just because we are all from the same place and have missions, so I can only confuse your sight. Please clean up his rash behavior. But looking at it now, these actions are meaningless, Amasawa Ichika said. Yes. Pointless. Because Oreki-senpai already knows the identity of Yagami Takia's chief White House. Then she was probably in front of the other person, without even putting on her underwear. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 570. Chapter 265. The exam ended early, so is the ambush on the last day of the exam still meaningful? Amasawa-senpai felt a little regretful because she didn't think that her identity as a White House student could be concealed. But at least I can cover Takia Yagami. She and Yagami-san are students in the same class as Shirobo. Also shouldering the same mission, Kiyotaka Ayanokaji, a dropout from school, arrives. At this time, in addition to Principal Ueshin, the helper was also Mark Dion, the class teacher of Class D in the first grade. But this class teacher is no one else, but the instructor of Baifang. He is an excellent instructor responsible for teaching martial arts. The reason why she was dueling with Shimakura was that the other party wanted her to lead Ayanokaji-senpai to a designated area on the last day of the exam. Then he takes charge. Use force to force Ayanokaji to drop out of school. And she refused. It's just that although Yagami is the chief, we are still taught that Ayanokaji Kiyotaka is the only qualified candidate for Shirobo-san. So no matter what results we achieve, we are still not as good as Ayanokaji senpai. Amasawa senpai continued to leak information. And I regard the other party as a strong one, but Yagami is different. And those words made Oreki-san think for a moment. Yagami's behavior is a bit strange. For example, when they first met, although he was interested in Kushida-san, he had already started to get in touch with Ayanokaji Kiyotaka before that. It seems that he is preparing to form a team with the other party to take the written test. Although if one of the partners deliberately breaks the rules, Ayanokaji Kiyotaka may be expelled from school. But judging from the fact that Tsukijo still needs help from unrelated people like Hokuan and others, it seems that Yagami does not obey Tsukijo's orders. In other words, he didn't want to drop Ayanokaji out of school so directly and simply. But, you want the other person to stay in school? No, I should say, I want to completely defeat Ayanokaji Kiyotaka. That's why his score is so high now. Moreover, when they attacked Komayayama and Kinoshita, they also confirmed that Ayanokaji was nearby. So this move is provocative. Does that mean you are jealous of Ayanokaji? It was like a goal had been set since childhood, but Ayanokaji-san escaped from the White Room. So for these White House students, when they meet again and can drop out of school. Naturally, I don't want to choose this directly. So I want to compete. That is to say, one is arrogant and arrogant. Don't you Hakubo students take psychology courses? Oreki-san felt that Yagami was a bit naive. We have them in this class, Amasawa said, but the last class, the fourth class, Ayanokaji-senpai, they didn't have them in that class, and the destructive power caused by it was very great. That class only had he as a qualified product, but the other members are more or less mentally broken. That's why we added psychological counseling courses this time. But your psychological counseling has not been done well either. Oreki-san decided not to ask any more. But why can Oreki-senpai find out Yagami's identity all of a sudden? Amasawa Ichika was a little curious. She should be found out, after all, her face is very strong. In line with the characteristics of Baifang students. It's just that she was covering up Yagami, but it was strange that she was still found out. He's here to touch Kushida Kikyo, a second-year student from Class D, Oreki said. And Kushida-san has a very strong memory and will never forget the people she comes into contact with. But she couldn't find the mark of the 8 god disciples. So it can be confirmed that Yagami is cheating, Oreki-san said. Furthermore, Kushida is a problem child. If your target is Ayanokaji, then contacting her is the best plan. So as long as you contact Kushida Kikyo, you can confirm that she is Shirobo-san. Teens. Is that so? So, the defeat will be due to Kushida-senpai? But why can you confirm the existence of Mr. Baifang? Junior Teens asked another question. Because Oreki-senpai acted like he knew everything. On the one hand, Ayanokaji's father has already been to a Kyosei high school, but failed to force Ayanokaji to drop out. He will definitely not give in. So if you want to defeat a powerful person, what should you do? Use magic to defeat magic. Therefore, Ayanokaji-san is a student from the White House, so he will naturally arrange for the White House student to come in. At the same time, Mr. Tsukijo has already told me this, Oreki said. Tell me, he will arrange for White House students to enroll. Oh. That's it? So, you obviously felt that the task could not be completed, and then you applied for Bai Fangshen's assistance. As a result, Mr. Yu Chang, are you the biggest traitor? Probably because of the complicated news, Amasawa did not continue to struggle, but followed Oreki to the D6 area. After all, the attitude of the boss is not clear, so there is no point in doing the task blindly. What's more, she wasn't actually here for a mission. Other White House students might want to drop out of Ayanokaji, but she didn't. She doesn't feel jealous of Ayanokaji senpai, but is full of curiosity. As the ceiling of a white room, why did he choose to come to this school? Then he didn't show his strength and lived an ordinary life. Something was attracting him. Is it freedom? When she became conscious, she was sent to the White Room. The White Room is similar to a school, but the curriculum is completely different from today's pediatrics. Even for exams like the Uninhabited Island, the difficulty they have to endure is at 100. They receive training in various courses every day. If they fail to meet the standards, they will be taken away. And she persisted. Yagami Taku is also ranked first, while she is ranked second in the 5th issue. Because she stands high, she can see far and think better. If what Ayanokaji senpai is willing to leave the White House in front of him is freedom, since freedom is so good. So do you want to experience it yourself? It's just that except for us Shirobo students, Principal Tsukijo arranged for the other first-year students to drop out of Ayanokaji senpai. Each class can choose 2 people to participate. This information Takiya Yagami has already revealed to Ayanokaji. However, although we have agreed to target Ayanokaji senpai on an uninhabited island this time, Nane-san is probably the only one who takes it seriously. Junior teens continued to add. After Tsubasa senpai left, Utsunomiya and Haru Sakurako found me again, hoping to cooperate with me. If my score on the uninhabited island is high, then I will team up with them. Then aim for the top 3, Amasawa Ichika said. In other words, the first graders are still very motivated. She apparently wants to drop out of Ayanokaji, but she is actually fighting in class to gain an advantage in this exam. Energetic. But this kind of fighting spirit is useless. Because the material point in Area D6 is already close at hand. Such a thing actually happened. Can't understand. The staff member on duty is the onboard teacher of Class C, Grade 2. If Simadion did that to my students, I would not forgive him. Yesterday, Mr. Banban led the rescue team to take away Komayayama and Kinoshita. It's just that the investigation has stalled. The message that Principal Yucheng replied probably asked them to conduct trajectory screening of students and faculty. Then we investigated several students. Only. Now the result is not students, but teachers. Indeed. During the teachers' gathering, the new teacher from Class D, Grade 1, looked very depressed. And I always feel that the other person is very strong. But this is not the reason for the other party to attack the students. You go back to the ship and rest first, Teacher Ban said. I applied to Principal Yucheng to terminate the exam. We can no longer put students in danger. The onboard digital teacher and a 3rd grade female teacher are on duty as a team. The female teacher first took Tian's classmate to have his injuries examined. Probably to ensure the seriousness of the injury, Amasawa didn't put her dislocated left hand back into place all the way. So when ordinary people see this, they immediately get very angry. It's really a complicated development, and here in the D6 area, there is another wave of people. Shiina-san is responsible for taking care of the supplies, and there is Sakayanagi Arisu who cannot move freely due to poor health. Xiao Banliu could only stay here at the stronghold. And when she found out that Oreki-san was back, she brought a clean towel. Then I sighed a little bit about what happened now. The digital teacher on the board has already begun to apply to terminate the exam. Sakayanagi glanced at the other person, then handed the towel to Oreki-san. No need. Although Oreki and Amasawa's schoolmate ran back, this distance would not make him sweat. Oyuzu Sakayanagi nodded. But she just stood holding the towel and didn't leave his side.